In this WrestleTalk news, Gunther's WWE push nearly came to an end recently, the latest on Sasha Banks and Naomi's return to WWE, the real reason Hit Row returned, and more. Subscribe and enable notifications to always on for daily wrestling news videos, with hot news like this. Maki Itoh is available for weddings now.
Support WrestleTalk!
Maki Itoh is bloody brilliant and can do it all. Not only is she a J-pop superstar, not only is she a former 6-time Iron Man heavy metalweight champion, not only has she wrestled for AEW, Tokyo Joshi Pro and more, not only has she been cosplayed by Ollie Davis, she's also great fun at wrestling weddings. Last night's GCW Homecoming Part 2 saw the card owners of Matt and Chelsea Green renew their wedding vows in the main event, which didn't just have Undertaker Royal Rumble Eliminator Maven officiate the wedding, but also feature Maki Itoh singing L.O.V.E. by Nat King Cole. And I've now realized that I made an error with my own wedding by not booking Maki Itoh to sing L.O.V.E. by Nat King Cole to me. Stupid 2017 Luke, your wedding sucked! As former Quizzlemania contestant Sam Roberts put it on Twitter, this is peak pro wrestling. Speaking of pro wrestling, and the pro wrestling era of WWE has now been in full effect for the last few weeks since Triple H took over as head of creative for the company. It's been reported that Papa H is looking to move away from sports entertainment and put more emphasis on the actual wrestling side of World Wrestling Entertainment. This was seen on SummerSlam and Raw, but most evidently on this past Friday SmackDown, where Gunther defeated Shinsuke Nakamura to retain his Intercontinental Championship. It was a hard-hitting affair, and while not the highs of previous Nakamura highs, not exactly New Japan Nakamura, it was the most Walter-like Gunther has felt on the main roster since his call-up back in April. Gunther won the IC belt on the June 10th episode of SmackDown, and it looked like he was heading for a big push. He was well protected, he was well presented, and he was given a championship. Plus, he'd gotten himself into what Ollie Davis and I used to call main roster shape, i.e. a body type that Vince McMahon would actually like to see and not just want to put a t-shirt on. Cough Baron Corbin, cough. However, according to the very reliable WrestleVotes, this Gunther push was set to come crashing down and hurt inside following the July 4th edition of Monday Night Raw. That episode saw a very bizarre segment where R-Truth came out dressed as Uncle Sam, who was then beaten up by SmackDown's Gunther in an unadvertised cross-brand dealio. Must have been part of that quarterly brand invitational type situation that was very clearly laid out to fans to understand and was very well thought out by creative. The segment didn't really get over with the live crowd, despite being a foreign invading force going against a man literally dressed as America. And it might be one of the reasons that WrestleVote is alluding to when they tweeted, those in power at the time really soured on Gunther for whatever ridiculous reason, to the point where a burial on TV was coming. What, like losing in under 3 minutes at Survivor Series, or losing both of your Raw matches when he's in the UK? That kind of Vince burial? As many have pointed out in the replies to the WrestleVotes tweet, it seems weird that WWE, read Vince McMahon, were planning on burying Gunther when they still had him hold the IC belt and getting wins on TV. But it is worth reminding folks that the IC belt didn't really mean a lot under the watch of McMahon, and wins and losses didn't matter either. Fightful Select also reported after he stepped down from creative that Vince would often sour on things very quickly and get bored of pushes, which is why we got so many stop-start-stop ones over the last decade or so. The final part of that report, that things are quite different for Gunther now, is just another example of how the landscape of WWE has changed since one man stepped down and another man took over. Gunther, when he was Walter, was brought into NXT UK by Daddy H and is clearly a guy that he sees massive potential in. Kind of like how the entire wrestling world saw he had massive potential when he was the biggest star on the independent scene and having the best matches on a consistent basis. Oh, that Triple H, he sure is good at finding those unfound diamonds in the rough, isn't he? But Gunther isn't the only person reaping the rewards of Trips being king of creative. To paraphrase the great Sinead O'Connor, it's been several hours and 91 days. Yes, I will keep doing that joke. Since Sasha Banks and Naomi walked out on WWE over creative differences. Being that those disagreements came from Vince McMahon and John Laurinaitis, two of the most powerful men in the company, it seemed like the pair would never return to WWE. With several reports coming out over the last few months about their varying lengths of WWE contracts, and Banks proving that she is a megastar at C2E2 by charging the event a reported $30,000 for her non-wrestling appearance, which proved dividends for the event because there was a huge queue ready to meet her and Naomi. But no, please Twitter, tell me more about how Sasha Banks overpriced herself. Look, if you can charge that amount for a simple signing appearance, why would you be rushing back to Vince and Johnny Ace begging for your job back that you weren't happy in? But things are different now, particularly because those two men, Vince and Laurinaitis, are no longer in positions of power. Vince McMahon has officially retired from WWE, and Johnny Ace was relieved of his duties with the company following his involvement in the allegations made against Vince that were first reported by the Wall Street Journal. With Triple H and Stephanie McMahon now running the show, there have been several reports that Banks and Naomi will be heading back to WWE after all. But as they weren't named in the women's tag team tournament brackets, nor was there a blank space for a surprise appearance, the question wasn't a case of if they'll return, but more when. Dave Meltzer on Sunday night's Main Event podcast was asked this question and he replied, "I'm guessing that it's going to be the finals of the tournament or right after the finals that they show up. That's kind of how I'm reading it now." Meltzer continued by saying that Trips is looking to stagger his big returns, which we've seen recently include Dakota Kai at SummerSlam, carrying across on SmackDown, Dexter Lumis on the following Raw, and then Hit Row on this past Friday's SmackDown. And when it comes to Banks and Naomi, they're obviously the biggest ones they can bring in, so you don't need to do that in week one. There have been several reports since he took over that Triple H is being aggressive in re-signing some of the talent released under the previous people in charge, which included, as we just mentioned, Hit Row a couple of days ago. Hit Row debuted as a faction in NXT back in May 2021 and were quickly called up to the main roster in October, with the team having their first match later that month. Just 1 week later though, and B-Fab was released. Then a couple of weeks after that saw the releases of the rest of the group of Top Dollar, Ashante the Adonis, and Isaiah Swerve Scott. Although without Swerve, who signed with AEW in March of this year, the group did do a few indie appearances under the new name of Hitmakers for companies like GCW. This past Friday, it was reported by PW Insider that WWE were keen on bringing back Top Dollar and Adonis, and did so quickly by having them re-debut on SmackDown as a trio with B-Fab. And now, we know why. Thank you for your support on Patreon, the Cleaner Kenny Shah and the British Bulldog Philip Boy J. Smith Jr. Get your own personalized Patreon shout out on the WrestleTalk news by going to patreon.com/WrestleTalk. In an interview with Busted Open Radio, Top Dollar revealed that even after he was released by WWE, he was in constant contact with Triple H, even sending him videos of the indie appearances they were doing for the likes of GCW and ACW as a tag team. Crucially, as a tag team without Swerve, who would have been unable to return with the group on account of him being one half of the AEW World Tag Team Champions. Top Dollar also revealed that Hit Row was one of Triple H's top priorities to bring back, and the deal to get them on TV was done in just over a week. In fact, according to Dollar, we might have seen them return on the same SmackDown we saw Killer Cross return. He added there are a million people Hunter could run back. The list is hundreds of people long that are talented performers that were released in the last 5 years that are still young and able to do these things. A million people he could bring back, but he called us. And it's worth remembering that Top Dollar was rumored to have massive heat on him backstage when he was on the main roster for rubbing people the wrong way, even having to delete a diss track he made for their feud with Jinder Mahal and Shanky because he received so much backlash from fans. He'd also rubbed the Young Bucks the wrong way on social media, which is a reported reason why only Swerve Strickland was signed by AEW rather than the whole group. In an interesting side note to this, Dollar revealed that Swerve being added to Hit Row was a Triple H decision, and Dollar saw them as a tag act of him and Adonis with B-Fab as their manager, which might be why they refer to themselves as the OG3 in their SmackDown promo. Dollar coming back into WWE is another example of the winds of change in the company. And speaking with Alex McCarthy of Inside the Ropes, Doudrop also revealed that there could be some changes coming for her as well. She told McCarthy that she had a meeting with Triple H recently where the question of where she saw her character going was discussed, including ditching the name Doudrop and possibly going back to her previous WWE name of Piper Niven. Interestingly, she also noted that she wasn't the only one who's been having meetings with Triple H about changing up what they're doing now that he's in control. She said he was receptive to all my ideas. I'm very much aware that there is probably, like lots of other people, that are looking for changes. In the latest Wrestling Observer newsletter, Meltzer noted that some of the weird name quirks may be changing, noting it's believed that Umberto will be getting back his surname of Carrillo, which could also be the same case for his cousin and tag partner Angel Garza. While there are no confirmed reports, this could also mean we'll get back 4 names for Austin Theory, Tommaso Ciampa, and Matt Riddle. And I want to round off this episode of the WrestleTalk News by reminding you of our WWE Clash at the Castle party on September 3rd at the Joiner on Worship in London. Tickets are going fast with over 75% of them now sold. So if you're waiting on getting one, I'd suggest clicking the link and ordering as soon as possible. The whole WrestleTalk and No Rolls Barred crew will be there in full force, and there will be an after party with drinks and games once the show is finished. We genuinely cannot wait to see you all there.
Well, it sure is an exciting time to be a wrestling fan, isn't it? The time that so many people had fantasy booked and speculated about is finally upon us, as Vince McMahon is out and Triple H is in. And in the first couple of weeks, Triple H has been sure to make his presence felt on the main roster, hasn't he? And he's made just a couple of tiny little changes, like bringing back to